Hello, and welcome to episode 8 of our Sports Card Tracker series. In our last episode, we finished creating the conditions and the variations help menus. In this episode, we're going to add functionality to the conditions table, the variations table, the brand table, and the sports table, so we can add information into those specific tables. Before we get started, there is some housekeeping that we're going to do. In our new card menu class, we added the field limit and the column count constants. To make this more streamlined, we're going to add these to our main class. I'm just going to copy and I'm going to paste the constants into our main class. And I'm going to do the same with the column count. Now we're going to change it from being private to public. I'm just going to copy public and double click on private and paste over with public. Now we can call on those constants from our main class. Now I'm going to add two new constants below the default width and default height. So public static final int, and I'm going to call these maintenance width, and I'm going to give it the width of 500. And I want maintenance height, public static final int maintenance height, and I'm going to give that the value of 100. And the last one I'm going to add is public static final int maintenance large height, and I'm going to give that the value of 150. So that's all of our additions for our constants. Now I'm going to create 4 new classes. Our first will be called Sport. Our second will be called Condition. Our third will be called Variation. And our fourth class will be called Brand Name. We'll work with brand name first. We want to create a constructor that will accept a username and a password. We'll declare the variables private string username and private string user password. Now we'll create our constructor, public brand name, and we want it to accept a stage. So we're going to call this stage primary stage. And we're also going to bring in the username. I'm going to call it name. And we'll also bring in the password, and it will be PWD. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to assign the username the value of name. So username equals name, and user password will equal PWD. Now we'll want to import our stage, and we're going to declare a stage, and I'm calling it brand name stage equals new stage. We want it to not be resizable, so brand name stage dot set resizable, and we want that to be false. Now we want to set up our modality, so brand name stage dot init modality, and we're giving it the modality of application modal. So we're going to assign our owner brand name stage dot init, and we want to choose owner, and we're going to set that to primary stage. Now we're going to set up our border pane, the border name, and I'm calling it brand layout equals new border pane. We'll add our import. Now we're going to set up our scene. Set up scene. So we're going to declare a scene brand scene equals new scene, and we're going to use our layout brand layout, and we're going to set our width and height. So it's main dot, and we want maintenance width, and main dot, and we're going to choose maintenance height. We'll add our imports. With our brands, all we need is a label that prompts the user to enter in a brand name, and we need a text field to accept that brand name. And then we'll need an OK button and a close button. So we're going to create 2 rows to do that. So we'll use a VBox to do this, and I'm calling my VBox VB brand equals new VBox, and I'm going to need the value of 2 for our 2 rows. I'm going to add our import. Now we're going to set up our first row. I'm going to use an HBox for this. HBox HB brand equals new HBox, and there's going to be 2 items in this HBox, our label and our text field. I'm going to add our import. Now I want the alignment for this to be centered. So HB brand dot set alignment, and we're using POS center. So first we're going to create our label, and I'm going to name it LBL brand equals new label, and I'm giving it the value of brand name. Now I'm going to create a text field. I'm going to call it TF brand equals new text field. Now I'll add our imports for our label and our text field. Do the label first, then the text field. Now our brand name can only accept 32 characters, so I want to limit how many characters the user can enter to 32. To do this, we're going to use a text formatter, and because we're only going to use 32 characters, I really only want the text field to throw 32 characters. So we'll set that up. If brand dot set preferred column count, and we're going to use main dot column count text 32. We're going to set up our text formatter. If brand dot set text formatter, and we're going to declare a new text formatter. Change. We're going to use a lambda expression. It's my spelling for text formatter, and add our import. If change dot get control new text dot length is greater than main dot field limit of 32, we want to return null. Otherwise, return change. So if the length is over our 32 characters, we're not going to increase the length. The character will be dropped. Those are our 2 controls that we're adding to this HBox. So let's add them to the HBox. HB brand dot get children dot add all, and we want the label first, LBL brand, followed by TF brand. Now we're going to set up our button. So our first button is our OK button. So button, OK button equals new button. And we're giving it the value of OK. And we're going to add our import. Now we want to set our action listener. OK button dot set on action, an action event, and we're going to call it OK event. We're going to push that to a lambda expression. We'll add our import for our action event. We're going to set up our query to insert information into our database. So string query equals insert into brand table. And we're only inserting into the table our brand name because our ID is auto incremented. So we don't have to put a value in there. And the field we're going to populate is brand name. Plus values. And we're going to get our values from our text field. TF brand dot get text. And then we're going to finish off our quote. So here we're going to put in our code to add information to the database. So we're going to call our database class SCT for sports card tracker underscore database. And we're going to call our variable brand query equals new SCT database. Now this accepts the username, the user password, and the query. Now this could throw an exception. We need to declare a try catch. We're going to try brand query dot connect database. We're going to send it the action execute query. And we'll show you what that means when we modify our SCT database class. Now we need to catch an error if there is one. Catch exception EX, and we want it to print out error adding brand name to brand table. That way we know where the error is, and we want to print out the exact error. So error plus ex dot to string. So once it adds the information to the database, we want to clear the fields. So tf brand dot clear, and we want to put the focus back into the tf brand control. So to do this, it's tf brand dot request focus. Now we want to set up the OK button size. So it's OK button dot set maximum size. And we want that to be 150 and 50. Now we're going to set up our close button. So button close button equals new button. And we're going to give it the value of close. Now we want to set the action listener. So close button dot set on action. We're going to call an action event, and we're going to name it close event. We're going to pass it to a lambda expression. Now, in order to close the stage, we need to query which stage it is that we want to close. So we have to declare a stage. So it's stage equals, we're going to cast this to a stage. Now we're going to query what control caused the event. Because it was the close button that caused the event, we want to get the window of that close button. Close button dot get scene dot get window, and then we're going to close that. So stage dot close. Put our semicolon in. Now we want to set our maximum size for the close button. So close button dot set max size, and we're going to use 150 by 50. So those are our buttons. Now we want to add them to an HBox. We'll declare an HBox, and I'm calling it HB button box equals new HBox, and there's only 2 buttons being added to it, so we're going to give it the value of 2. Now we want to set up our alignment. HB button box dot set alignment, and we're going to use POS dot center. Okay, now we want to add our buttons to our HB button box. So HB button box dot get children dot add all, and we're putting our OK button first. So OK button followed by our close button. Now we want to add everything to our VBox. Add containers to VBox. VB brand dot get children dot add all. Then we want to put everything in order. So we want our brand name first, HB brand, followed by our button box, HB button box. And we're going to set up our alignment, VB brand dot set alignment, and we're going to use the value of POS dot top center. Now we're going to add our VB box to our layout. So brand layout dot set center, and we're putting in that our VB brand. Now we want to give our stage a title. So brand name stage dot set title. We're going to call it maintenance menu add brand name. Now we want to give it an icon, and for this we created a new icon. Under our resources we have a maintenance icon. So brand name stage get icons dot add, in the brackets, new image, and we're going to put the path to our image, which is com/bor /resources /maintenance icon.png. Add our import for image. Now we want to set our scene. Brand name page set scene, and we're going to use brand scene. And finally we'll show our stage. So brand name stage dot show. Now in our sports card tracker at the bottom we want to add event handlers for our brand table, our sports table, our variation table, and our condition table. The brand table item dot set on action, and we're using menu event handler. Sports table item dot set on action, variation table item dot set on action, and finally condition table item dot set action. Now we haven't set up our other three yet. Now that we have our event handlers in place, we're going to add our cases to handle the menus. Now I'm going to put them after the exit and before the conditions help menu. So our first one is case brand table, and they have to have the same name as we named the tables. So in this case here, you go back up to the menus, you can see I used brand table menu as the menu name. So under the brand table, I want to add a break. And before the break, we're going to call our new class we created, brand name, my brand name equals new brand name, and I'm going to pass it our stage, our username, and our user password. So now we have to make a change to our SCT database. We'll open that up, and in our connect to database, we're going to add a case, and we're going to call that execute query. And in here, we're going to call a method that we'll create in a minute. We're going to call it maintenance upgrade. And we're going to pass it the con. Now, once we have updated the database, there's no way of knowing if it was successful. So what we're going to do is add a pop-up here. Pop up to alert user when action is completed. To do this, we're going to create a variable alert, and we're going to call it alert equals new alert, and our alert type is going to be information. Now we'll have to add our imports. We need an import for alert, and we needed the import for alert type. So it was both alert followed by alert type. Now we want to set a title for it. So alert.set title. And we're going to give it the value of maintenance. Now we want to add a header text, alert.set header text. And we're going to give it the value of database update information. And now we want to add our content. So alert.set content text. The database was successfully updated. And we want this alert to be persistent until a button is pressed. So alert.show and wait. And after this, we want to break so no other commands will run. Now we're going to create our method, maintenance upgrade. So we'll scroll down to the bottom. Now we're going to create our maintenance upgrade method. So private void maintenance upgrade, and it's going to accept a connection. I'm going to call it con. Now this can throw an exception, so throws exception. So the first thing we're going to declare is a statement variable, statement, and I'm going to call this statement equals con dot create statement. And we want this statement to execute our query. So if you remember in our constructor, we're going to change this because we're going to declare a new variable at the bottom called statement. I'm just going to call this one user statement. And then down here in our constructor, we're going to change that to user statement. Down in our method, statement dot execute update, and we're going to pass it our user statement. Now once this is done, we want to close our statement. So statement dot close. Now if we compile this and run it, and we go into our My Collection, and we go to our maintenance and brand table. Now before I add a brand name, let's go into our services and look at our brand table, and let's view the data of our brand table. And as you can see right now, there is no values in our brand table. So let's go back to our program, and we're going to add the name pops to our brand names. Click OK. We get our pop-up information that our database update information, and the database was successfully updated. Now this is stuck, and it's a modal, so you can't touch anything behind it. So we click OK. It clears the brand name. Now if we come back over here and we view our data again, we can see now that we have pops as a brand name. So that's it for episode 8. Tune in next time where we'll finish our variation table, our condition table, and our sports table.